Hi, Katie here with the astrology for the week beginning the 11th of May. There's a few key shifts happening this week. Mercury and Mars are changing sign and 3 planets are going retrograde. So we're starting the week with the waning gibbous moon in Capricorn, and the moon is going to move through Aquarius and Pisces. So the waning moon is a time of release after the powerful full moon in Scorpio, which we've just been through, and I think we're all recovering from that. I mean, that was such a powerful, magical, alchemical moon, and it brought a lot to light, a lot of hidden fears, suppressed energies, things you've been struggling with. So, and also as Pluto is now in retrograde, it would have brought up very subtle layers of karma to be shifted and cleared and released. And the key is in seeing them clearly. So you may have been aware of things coming up, subtle layers of issues and patterns and karmas that you may have not dealt with, which I'm sure you thought you had, but that's how it works, isn't it? And you see a new layer and then you release it up to the light to be cleared and transformed. So I think some profound shifts have happened since that full moon. Many people doing very powerful work, inner work, and work for the collective. So as the waning gibbous moon moves through the sign of Capricorn, the moon in Capricorn asked us to pay attention to the material world and make sure our material life is in order. It's a time of getting all the steps in place and thinking about what you want to create and what you want to build. And while the moon is waning there, this is really a time of honing and refining your vision, seeing what you can let go of, what you can cut away, so that you have the essentials of what you need for where you want to go next. Now, there's a Moon-Jupiter conjunction on Tuesday, and Moon-Jupiter conjunction helps us to expand our dreams and expand our visions and feel that growth and evolution in our sense of self, that growth in our world. And in the sign of Capricorn, that is expansion within the restrictions that we find ourselves in right now. So changes are happening, lockdowns are being lifted in some ways, in some places, but we always have the opportunity to go out into the fresh air, into nature, enjoy life. I think we'll be able to meet people now. So it's time to really cherish your freedom and think about what you will accept, what is acceptable for you and what you won't accept. And the moon Jupiter in Capricorn reminds us that we always have this inner space. No matter how confined we think we are, we always have the inner space of the mind and wisdom. And with that, we can do magic. There's no limit to what we can actually be and do. Now we have some beautiful trines happening this week, so the energy should feel lighter and more flowing. The sun is coming into a trine with Pluto, so that gives us a break from some of the difficult energies because the sun is easing that focus. It's illuminating the ways that we can work with the difficult, challenging energies and the obstructions that we are facing. So expect new ways of doing things to come to light, new ideas, new focus. So expect to see an easing up of the problematic energies and finding more flow in your life and in your world. The sun is also moving into a trine with Jupiter, which is an amazingly positive, uplifting energy. It will bring a sense of expansion and hope. And we may find new ways. I believe that we will find new ways around obstacles that appear to be in our path, and we'll find new ways of lifting those and asserting our freedom and our sovereignty. So Mercury goes into Gemini on Tuesday. It's strong in its own sign, so expect communications to come into focus and be empowered because the mental energies are strong. So with Mercury and Venus both in Gemini, there'll be a strong emphasis on communication in relationships. Now Venus goes retrograde on Wednesday at 21 degrees Gemini. Now when a planet goes retrograde, it's just that its energies operate on more of an inner level in your inner world. So expect to be doing some introspection on your relationships, and perhaps going back over communications, revisiting communications with your significant other, with the important people in your life. Perhaps there are some more things that need to be said, or you need to talk through some issues and just finish resolving some issues. And you may find new ways of expressing this. On Thursday, Mars enters Pisces. So Mars completes his sojourn in Aquarius as the warrior of the community. And now Mars is entering Pisces, which is a very different feel. So Mars is the active male energy. It's the male energy in the psyche of all of us and in the collective. And with Mars in Pisces, a naturally dynamic, fiery energy goes into the sign of infinite water and the vast ocean of consciousness. So it's a very, very different energy. On some level, Mars in Pisces can lead to vague, unfocused energies and scattered energies. But on the higher levels, Mars in Pisces is deeply compassionate, and it's a symbol of the deeply compassionate man who uses his intuition, works with healing energies, high subtle energies to accomplish his actions and his aims. So this is where the male aspect is heading. We're entering that Mars in Pisces season of the warrior of compassion. So I hope that we'll see more compassionately led actions with deep caring about the consequences of all of our actions and the impact they have on others and on humanity as a whole. Now on Friday, we have Jupiter going into retrograde at 27 degrees Capricorn. Now Jupiter is of course the planet of expansion, faith, optimism, hope, all those wonderful buoyant qualities. And when it's moving forward, you know, we have a lot of opportunities for expansion and growth and stretching the boundaries of our world. When Jupiter moves into retrograde, those qualities become inner qualities and it affects us in an inner way. So this is a time of spiritual expansion, expanding your inner world, expanding your inner life. For example, you may have done some spiritual training, you may know how to meditate, you may know a lot of things, but do you actually put them into practice? This is a time for practicing everything that we've learned in terms of meditation, spiritual practice, our inner life. If you're a light worker, then be a light worker. Put that into practice every day, every moment. See where you can take your energies, see where you can take your spirit and really fly. So Jupiter retrograde is going to give us some amazing gifts there and show us how we can expand the boundaries of our world by changing our inner world first. And of course on Monday, Saturn went into retrograde in the sign of Aquarius at 1 degree Aquarius. So Saturn has just pushed forward into Aquarius and now it's going to retrograde back into Capricorn. So Saturn will enter back into Capricorn in July and will have more of a feeling of a stuck, fixed energy. So even now Saturn has gone into retrograde, we still have the opportunity to use that wonderful Aquarian energy to think different, think outside the box, find those genius inspirations. And now that it's moving retrograde, things will slow down and we can take a step back and really think intelligently about what course we want our actions to take. So this can indicate a slowing down when Saturn goes into retrograde, but it's, in a sense, there's a release there as well. Saturn is the planet of structure, discipline, authority, responsibility. And now that it's retrograding in Aquarius, those qualities are becoming inner qualities. So it's about our inner discipline. It's time to focus on your inner discipline, your inner responsibility, where you want to take your life, what you can offer, what you're here to bring, and really refine your inner gifts. Come into your inner authority and your sovereignty, and you will become really strong when you do that. And there's a let up of pressure when Saturn goes retrograde, and we also have these big planets, Jupiter and Pluto, in retrograde. It's like we're given a chance to take time out and feel what we can really bring. It's like, it may feel like there's not so much forward movement in our lives. Of course, things have been majorly interrupted with the whole lockdown and the worldwide situation. So there can be a sense of coasting, I think, with all these planets in retrograde, coasting and not moving forward. So it's a time to really focus and vision and imagine where we want to be and take that leap forward with our mind and our soul energy and that shift into 5D. Of course, people won't be able to go back to normal because nothing will ever be the same. We're going through a major shift of humanity and the earth in whatever way you want to look at it. So people won't be able to go back to work as before. Everything has changed, work has changed, businesses have changed. Some people remain unaffected, but as the whole situation has changed and shifted massively, everything will be different in our society, in our communities. So with Saturn retrograde, it's like we won't be pushing forward in the same way as cogs in the machine. Changes are being made, and it's up to us how we move forward within that and how we assert our sovereignty. How can we find our peace of mind within the new restrictions or the easing of lockdown measures, the new rules and laws that have been written on paper? How can we remember our human rights and common law, which can never be taken away from us? Because once those get eroded, then the perpetrators of that are criminal. That's crimes against humanity. So we must remember this, remember our sovereignty, our intrinsic wisdom, and the power we have to create with our mind, with our soul, with our spirit. And this is where we're going. So we need to vision and focus where we're going so that we can glide through this and end up where we want to be with the power of our spirit. So as well as Mercury and Venus in Gemini, the North Node has of course shifted into Gemini. So there's a major collective shift in terms of communication. Communication is what will save us. Communication is what will get us through. The fact that we're all connected to each other and we can communicate our thoughts and ideas so fast. It's like nothing can stop us. It's almost like wildfire. So communicate in the best way you possibly can. Your thoughts, your ideas, your energies, your contributions are needed. They're valuable, they're important. So it's about recognizing that, communicating your truth and sharing that truth with as many people as you can. Not fear-mongering, not just repeating things you've heard, borrowed ideas, dead knowledge. That's not what we're concerned with. We're concerned with each person sharing their truth, and that will contribute to build a big picture where we can all join together and create something with the power of we. Now with the North Node in Gemini, the collective South Node is now in Sagittarius. So this is bringing out the shadow of Sagittarius for the collective. And the shadow of Sagittarius would be wisdom, faith and philosophy that's been somehow inverted. So that would be religious dogma, ideas and philosophies that have been used to entrap people or keep them stuck. Preachers and teachers who are keeping people stuck at a certain level, ideas that are outdated. This is all coming out to be cleansed and released from the collective, because we all have our own connection to God. We all have the spark of the divine within our hearts, and we can all move forward. We can check whether the truth resonates within ourselves, so we don't necessarily need to someone to tell us. So we're moving into the free sharing of information and less control over how that information is disseminated and shared, which is what we need. We need that freedom to move around, communicate like the element of air, so that we can uplift ourselves and fly. The moon will conjunct Mars at the beginning of Pisces on Friday, and then it will go on to conjunct Neptune in Pisces on Saturday. So we've got these deep Neptunian energies coming in with the planet of action, Mars, and then the moon conjuncting it there. So the collective focus of our emotions will be on this Mars in Pisces energy, which is the compassionate, the intuitive, the healer, the artist, those beautiful deep energies of Mars in Pisces, which is the divine masculine and the enlightened masculine. And then we have the moon conjuncting Neptune in Pisces on Saturday, which brings a really deep spiritual feel. That's an amazing day for healing, meditation and energy work. And it's a day to call in and call through those higher powers, the light codes, the divine energies, so that we can embody that and bring more high vibration energy onto the planet and shift the frequency, because this is what will bring about the big shift that we're all looking for, that we're all here for.